Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I am Aditi Mehra. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Thursday, the 2nd of April. At least 17 killed in suicide bomb blast in eastern Afghanistan. Former Pakistan President Musharraf gets arrest warrant in Red Mosque case. And it's a splash of bold and beautiful at Fashion Pakistan Week. And now for all the details. Over 350 Indian nationals have arrived back home after being evacuated from Yemen. India has also agreed to help Bangladeshi and Sri Lankan nationals caught up in the conflict-hit nation.
Two Indian Air Force planes carrying over 350 evacuees from Yemen landed in India on wee hours of Thursday. While one plane carrying 190 nationals arrived at Western India's Mumbai airport, the other carrying 169 landed in southern city of Kochi. Many returning from the conflict zone said that the situation in Yemen is ghastly and thanked the Indian government for facilitating their safe return.
No, the situation is very pathetic there. Now, really, we are very thankful to the Ministry of External Affairs. When we reached in Djibouti, then our Minister of Vacation, General Vacation, he was on board. So he welcomed us and he gave a nice treat and he arranged everything in Djibouti.
The evacuation was a part of the Indian government's effort to bring back an estimated 3,500 citizens, mostly nurses, who are stranded in the conflict zone. India had also accepted requests of Bangladesh and Sri Lanka in helping them in evacuation of its citizens. According to the estimates of Bangladesh government, around 2,000 Bangladeshi citizens are currently in Yemen. Sri Lanka too is making all-out efforts to evacuate some nearly 100 of its nationals by seeking assistance of the UN office in Sana'a, an international organization for migration. Pakistan, which had dispatched a special team to oversee the return of its citizens, has sought the help of China after its aircrafts were refused permission to land in Sana'a. Some 181 Pakistani citizens who are currently in Aden port will be transported to Djibouti by a Chinese naval vessel, from where they will be airlifted to Karachi.
A Pakistani court on Thursday issued a non-bailable arrest warrant against former military dictator Pervez Musharraf. The warrant was issued in a case regarding murder of Red Mosque cleric Ghazi Abdul Rashid. The court order came after Musharraf failed to attend the trial once again, citing health reasons. He also sought exception from personal appearance in the court. The former president was charge-sheeted in 2013 for the 2007 military operation in Islamabad's Red Mosque, which killed over 100 people along with its cleric and his family. Musharraf is also facing trial in 3 other cases, including the murder of Baloch leader Akbar Bukti, assassination of former Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto, and for suspending the constitution in 2007. China has pledged a new grant of $1 billion to Sri Lanka after the recent cancellation of a port project in the island nation. China has also proposed a 3-party talk with India and Sri Lanka to clear any misgivings over its activities in the Indian Ocean region.
As Sri Lankan President Maithripala Sirisena completed his maiden visit to China, the recently strained ties appear to be back on track. While Beijing has offered a fresh line of credit for infrastructure projects in Sri Lanka, there is no clarification on whether it has agreed to revise the terms of a $5 billion loan as sought by Colombo. However, Chinese companies building a road in a Colombo suburb have agreed to cut the cost of the $520 million project by $225.73 million. This comes as China tries to consolidate the position in the infrastructure sector of Sri Lanka under the new government. President Sirisena had recently ordered the suspension of a $1.4 billion luxury port project in Colombo, citing irregularities and security threats. The 108-hectare mega project on the reclaimed land, which began construction in 2014, was awarded to a Chinese firm by former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. Neighboring India had also expressed concern over the growing presence of China in its southern coast. Chinese President Xi Jinping has also proposed 3-party talks with India and Sri Lanka to clear what it called Indian misunderstanding on its involvement in the island nation. China had, in the years following the end of civil war in Sri Lanka, emerged as a key player in its infrastructure sector.
The extension of the jurisdiction of military courts to Gilgit-Baltistan is seeing opposition from activists and international think tanks. Many have challenged the law creating special courts in a region which does not even have an independent judiciary. A report.
The Gilgit-Baltistan Empowerment and Self-Governance Order of 2009, which determines the administration of the Himalayan region, however, does not envisage military courts. Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif had in January reviewed the implementation of the National Action Plan, thus extending the scope of military courts to Gilgit-Baltistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Activists have, however, questioned the 21st Amendment of Constitution, which set up these courts but did not define Gilgit as part of Pakistan.
मैं भी ये समझता हूँ कि ये जो अदालतें हैं इनका क़याम नहीं होना चाहिए था। गिलगित बल्तिस्तान में ऑलरेडी एक कॉलोनियल सिस्टम है। आप उस सिस्टम को ख़त्म करके इसके निज़ाम में मज़ीद बेहतरी लाकर इसको इवॉल्व होने दें, इसको का जो इर्तक़ा है उसको जो है ना उसमें ऑब्स्ट्रक्शन ना डालें। तो वो करने की बजाय उन्होंने एक जो है ना ये बैकवर्ड स्टेप लिया है। इसको मज़ीद एक कॉलोनियल सिस्टम जो है उसमें वहाँ पर मौजूद है, ये उससे साबित होता है।
Gilgit-Baltistan has been under the occupation of Pakistan for over 6 decades. Locals have for years demanded international intervention into Islamabad's motive of making Gilgit its colony.
गिलगित-बल्तिस्तान में हुकूमत पाकिस्तान जो है हुकूमत पाकिस्तान वो किस हद तक ख़ाइफ़ है, मकामी लोगों की ताकत से वो किस हद तक ख़ाइफ़ है, किस हद तक डरी हुई है कि वो मामूली सी बात करने वाले लोगों को जो किसी कमरे में बैठकर 15-20 लोगों के सामने अपने मसाइल का जिक्र करते हों और अपना दुख दर्द शेयर करते हों, उनके ऊपर भी सेडिशन चार्जेस हों।
Pakistan had ceded vast swathes of land to its ally China for assistance to build a series of dams across the ecologically fragile region. Sering called Pakistan's plan a move towards changing the demography of Gilgit.
I think China's encroachment in Gilgit-Baltistan is not a new thing. It's not a new phenomenon. China has been promoting a policy of geographic extension. I mean, we have literally become an extension of the Xinjiang province now. It's a matter of concern for the local people. It's a matter of concern for anyone who believes in right to govern their own land, right to govern and benefit from their own resources.
While Pakistani claim of championing the cause of Kashmiris at all international fora, the plight of people living in Gilgit-Baltistan has largely been ignored.
Islamist outfit Ansarullah Bangla team was behind the murder of Bangladeshi blogger Washikur Rahman, investigators have claimed. The progressive writer was hacked to death in the capital of Dhaka on Monday.
Bangladeshi investigators on Thursday confirmed that the two suspects arrested in connection with the murder of Washikur Rahman had links to Ansarul Bangla team. Rahman was hacked to death for his criticism of Islam. According to police, the Ansarul Bangla team has links with Islami Chhatro Shibir, the student wing of Jamaat-e-Islami, and had targeted atheist writers in the past too. 6 of its top operatives were charge-sheeted by a Dhaka court last week for the murder of another progressive blogger Rajiv Haider. Haider, an architect by profession, was one of the main organizers of Gonojagran Manch, the movement which led to the demand of capital punishments for the convicted war criminals in Bangladesh. He was hacked to death for his atheistic views and criticism of religious fundamentalism. Bangladesh in the recent years has seen an increase in targeted attacks on intellectuals and liberals by extremist groups. US Bangladeshi blogger Avijit Roy was also killed in similar fashion in Dhaka last month.
At least 17 people were killed and some 50 others were injured in a suicide bomb blast in eastern Afghanistan on Thursday. This was one of the biggest terror attacks in the region in recent times.
Suicide bomber detonated himself during an anti-corruption demonstration outside the governor's house in Khost province. Afghan lawmaker and one of the organizers of the protest, Humayun, was among the 40 others who were injured in the attack. No groups have claimed responsibility of the blast so far. The Afghanistan Taliban, which has in the past carried out such attacks, has rejected its involvement in the attack.
It's rare to see instances when nature's crackdown turns into a blessing in disguise, but a similar scenario has been witnessed in southern India. Take a look.
They are tiny, they are vulnerable, and they are endangered. The cyclone Hudhud that struck India's southern coast last year has proven to be a boon for the olive ridley turtles. A certain fallout of the cyclone worked in favor of the creatures, with 93% of their eggs hatching successfully in Visakhapatnam this season. With the old toxic sand being blown away, the nesting and breeding of the turtles has been an unprecedented achievement after the beaches were replenished with fresh golden sand, providing an ideal nesting site. A campaign led by local conservation communities are keeping guard of the hatching grounds to ensure safe release of baby turtles into the sea.
ఇప్పుడు వరకు కూడా 38,000 రూపాయల 38,000 ఎగ్స్ ఇప్పుడు వరకు కలెక్ట్ చేయడం జరిగింది. ఈ సంవత్సరం అయితే 38,000 వరకు ఎగ్స్ కలెక్ట్ చేయడం జరిగింది. లాస్ట్ ఇయర్ అయితే 36,000 చిల్లర ఎగ్స్ కలెక్ట్ చేయడం చేసాం.
The olive ridley turtles migrate from the coast of Mexico to Andhra Pradesh in thousands for breeding each year between November and March. They have been classified as vulnerable due to erosion of their nesting sites and human interference on the beach. Many of them die along the Visakhapatnam coast after getting trapped in the double filament gill nets that are used by trawlers.
अभी जो बहुत ज़्यादा इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन हो रहा है, जो इंडिस्क्रिमिनेट फिशिंग हो रहा है, जो इंडस्ट्रियल पोल्यूशन हो रहा है, एंड उसमें क्या हो रहा है, बहुत सारे जो सी लाइफ्स है, टर्टल्स है, ये सब स्पॉइल हो रहा है.
Environmentalists have stepped up the conservation of the endangered species after concerns grew regarding depletion of their breeding grounds.
From a buzzing red carpet to a stunning stage, the fashion circuit of Pakistan had a muted start to yet another season of style. Take a look at what all lit up the ramp this time.
As models displayed high-end designs by top couturiers, the Spring-Summer 2015 season of Fashion Pakistan Week got a glittering start in Karachi. The 4-day premier fashion event saw exquisite creations from designers like Nida Azwar, Sania Muskatia, Zahir Abbas, Deepak Pirwani, Amna Akhil and Shamil Ansari. Participants lauded the Fashion Pakistan Week's attempt to lend impetus to the budding fashion industry of the country.
बिजनेस जो है वो शहरों से निकल के अब मतलब नेशन वाइड होना चाहिए. नेशन वाइड बढ़ेगा तो तभी इंटरनेशनल जाएगा. सबसे अच्छी बात यह है कि लाहौर के डिज़ाइनर्स यहाँ दिखाएं, कराची के डिज़ाइनर्स लाहौर में दिखाएं.
The runway boasted of capes, crop tops, lehengas, saris and wide-leg trousers. While some designers were inspired from the 80s monochrome capsules, others made a statement with folk aesthetic. Some prints caught the eye with its popping neon colors and bold embroidery reminiscent of splashes of paint.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. At least 17 killed in suicide bomb blast in eastern Afghanistan. Former Pakistan President Musharraf gets arrest warrant in Red Mosque case. And it's a splash of bold and beautiful at Fashion Pakistan Week. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter at SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.